Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of the Hyuga versus Uchiha discussion. This part of the video is going to be about the Uchiha and their powers, and I'm pretty much going to be able to determine the winner by the end of this video in about 1 minute. So if we use the first 14 to describe the Uchiha, I'm pretty sure that we could finish it in that last minute. So, the Uchiha are a very infamous clan, one of the two founding clans of the Leaf Village. Their history dates back to Madara Uchiha and the leader, the future leader of the Senju clan, Hashirama Senju. And the reason why I say their history dates back to them as far as the Leaf is concerned, as far as the Naruto series is concerned, is because those two are the two crown jewels of their clan. What I mean by that is they are the strongest in their line that has ever come out of a very long line of generations from their clan. Something that is a misnomer in Hyuga Vault's video on this subject is that Madara Uchiha is the very first person to ever awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. This is in fact not true. He is the first one to ever unlock the internal Mangekyo Sharingan. There is some filler episodes that talk about Izanami and Izanagi that show Sharingan users using Izanagi and Izanami before their time. Also, with Indara and I think it's Ashura, or however you say their names, the two who inherit the powers of Hagoromo, his two sons, undoubtedly are the strongest of the two lineage that these two both descend from, Hashirama and Madara. So, without further ado, let's get into all the brokenness that is the Sharingan, excluding the fact that these Uchiha members are extremely well versed in ninjutsu and taijutsu at that. So, let's start with the basics. Sharingan is an activated dojutsu that comes from an emotional response to an Uchiha member, okay? And basically, their emotions push them over the edge and activate the eye in a time of distress. I don't know if it has to be physical harm distress. I don't know if it has to be the fact that somebody died in front of them distress. But I can tell you pretty much this. If you have a Sharingan at all and your best friend dies in front of you, apparently, you get a Mangekyo out of it. So that's a thing, and it has to be great, deep emotional loss to that Uchiha to activate the Mangekyo, but I'm skipping a few steps. But once the Sharingan's activated, a few neat little tricks are kind of introduced. At the very least, at two-tone, we know that you can mirror taijutsu techniques. You can also learn and memorize hand signs, and threat perception is increased. You can decipher things easier and more. For instance, when Naruto uses the Shadow Clone Jutsu against Sasuke in the Valley of the End, where Hashirama and Madara statues are standing. Naruto uses the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and Sasuke is able to figure out which of the Shadow Clones it is, despite the fact that Neji, with a Byakugan, could not perceive which one it was. Also, like the Byakugan, the Sharingan has X-ray vision that allows you to see into the opponent's body and see the flow of chakra. I'm not sure if it is deep enough to see the Tenketsu like the Byakugan. I'm pretty sure it's not. However, Sasuke uses his Sharingan against Deidara to see the like molecule atom-sized bombs from the C4 dispersion technique that he uses as clay, which was literally destroying him on like a molecular level. He literally was looking into his arm and seeing these very, very tiny bombs that To a normal eye, you couldn't really see, and even to Sasuke from afar, just looked like a dense cloud of chakra moving toward him. So the perception on it, I have no idea really where it kind of goes and stops. Because I imagine at the molecular level, the Tenketsu are pretty big compared to that, which are the chakra points along the body. So I don't know. I really don't know where it lies. But back to the beginning, because I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. At 2-tome, you have threat perception increase. You have ninjutsu decipher abilities. You have just sheer insight into your opponent's chakra flow. You also have ninjutsu memorization. You also have partial immunity to genjutsu. And at least the ability to decipher when genjutsu is active. So that's that. I don't know what 1-tomes do. We've never seen a Sharingan really that weak and seen abilities displayed from it. Although we did see Sasuke with a 2 and a 1-tome counter Haku at near very, very fast speeds. I don't know at which speed you would really call it, but it was pretty fast, and Sasuke was able to time a jutsu correctly and counter correctly, and predict and respond quite correctly to Haku's movements, with a 1 and a 2. So let's get to the 3-tome. The 3-tome is on a completely different level from the second. The 3-tome Sharingan gives you not only access to decipher and see through genjutsu completely and utterly and turn it off. It also allows you to see threat perception on a whole new level, and up and including all taijutsu attacks, almost every taijutsu attack, I should say. And I say this because Might Guy overpowers the Rinnegan, which is the evolution of the Sharingan, with speed. Now, most speeds, no. There are very few things that the Sharingan cannot see. It not only memorizes hand seals, it doesn't matter how fast they are. It also determines which kind of jutsu is being used. It has perfect memory of all kinds of jutsu, and it grants the user the ability, if they have an affinity for a specific jutsu, to use that jutsu as well. We see this with Kakashi, who is able to copy and mimic other jutsus that other people use, and that's why he's called a copy ninja, the man who's copied over 1,000 jutsus with his Sharingan alone. There is very few things that can even compete. Did I mention that they can cast genjutsu? Yeah, they can cast genjutsu. And if you have a strong enough chakra source, as well as the ability to have the will and insight and training of such, you can even counter Mangekyo level genjutsu techniques with your regular Sharingan. We see this against in the battle with Itachi against Sasuke, where he counters with his curse mark the Tsukuyomi, which looked pretty gruesome. Now let's talk about the Mangekyo, because this is obviously the next place. The differences between the Mangekyo and the infinite Mangekyo. An infinite Mangekyo simply means you will not go blind for using Mangekyo level techniques. Mangekyo itself, however, is a type of dojutsu or visual jutsu that opens up a whole host of what is considered the brokenness of the Naruto world. There is Amaterasu, which is a black flame ninjutsu that is cast from the user's eye upon gaze. And I mean upon gaze, guys. Like, this does not mean it travels at like 70 miles an hour. It means upon gaze, which means when the Raikage dodged it, he dodged it faster than a gaze, which is pretty OD. There is also the power of the Tsukuyomi. The Tsukuyomi is a genjutsu that is not like your other genjutsus. It is not like other illusions. What it is that a distorted time and space genjutsu that affects the user's mind. A more advanced version of this is Shisui Uchiha's Mangekyo technique that literally controls your brain. And his, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I would butcher it, but I think it's called like Akatsu Tsukiyomai or something like that. Whatever it is, his jutsu, which can only be activated 10 years, can literally control you without you ever knowing. And it's not even really, again, jutsu, it's just mind control, which is where the Tsukuyomi is headed. It's headed to that direction. It also allows the user to incorporate Mangekyo techniques with their ninjutsu. We see this when Itachi uses the fireball jutsu, and then he increases his fireball when he's losing to Sasuke with his Amaterasu. Now, the Amaterasu and the Tsukuyomi combination perform and make the Susanoo, which is a chakra skeleton that grows armor with increased amount of chakra and creates this gigantic massive energy around the Uchiha user, which is very, very strong and very, very powerful, which gives a whole host of techniques. Upon perfection, these Susanos have destructive powers that can destroy mountain ranges. We see this with Uchiha Madara versus the 5 Kage. We see this with Sasuke Uchiha cutting up meteorites that are just ginormous. And certain Susanos, like Sasuke's, can also protect from current dimensional light, as in they can literally go into their own dimension. These Susanos have different varying abilities. For instance, Itachi's had this sort of sealing, which allowed him to seal any person infinitely inside a gourd that it touched. Itachi Susanoo also had the shield of something else, which could reflect and deflect all attacks. Guys, Mangekyo just broken. Izanami is a ability that allows a user to stand before themselves, and until it allows the opponent to stand before themselves in exchange for permanent loss of vision in that eye. However, they are stuck in repetition of that, of facing themselves until they accept who they are. If they cannot accept who they are, they'll die eventually. And during that time, you can kill them. This was invented as a counter to the Izanagi. The Izanagi is a literal do-over. Okay, let's say that we both charge at each other with kunai, and I stab you in the stomach, and you stab me in the stomach. If I activate Izanagi, I can erase the fact that I was stabbed in the stomach and keep the fact that you were stabbed in the stomach. Okay, that's the best way that I can describe that jutsu, and also in exchange for eyesight. There's a whole just host of broken stuff. I mean, Kakashi's and Obito's Sharingan has access to a third dimension, of which the Kamui can put things in, and Obito's Sharingan allows his body to interact with that dimension, making himself intangible. Okay, the Sharingan limits are just busted. Okay, they're broken. And there are lots of infamous Uchiha who are very famous. Shisui, Itachi. Well, we can't really consider Kakashi an Uchiha because he's really not, but he has a Sharingan. Madara. I mean, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Sasuke himself. There's so many broken Sharingan users and broken Uchiha throughout the history. It's kind of insane. And to think that the next level of the Sharingan beyond the Mangekyo and the Infinite Mangekyo is in fact the Rinnegan, just puts it on a whole new level. So that's going to be all for this video. I'm going to actually get into the winner because I want to give some real explanation in the next video. So see you guys there, and until next time, laters.